And we are live. Sorry about that, everyone. We're a bit late. Better late than never, though, eh?
Yes, yes. Looking forward to it. Oh, a bit of panic there, Steve.
It was almost never, but we actually did get it in the end.
But well, this is all a great fun. All this live recording. It's you're bound to get things like this go
Yeah.
wrong, aren't you?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, I mean, I work with computers, but that is stressful. Very stressful. Anyway, welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the Feedback Show. I'm Stephen Bradley.
And I'm Colin Bradley.
And this is a show where we go through your artwork sent into us and offer advice and tips and any sort of positive feedback we can on your art, along with lots of other little bits and bobs. It's nice to get together once every couple of weeks to touch in with our members. And so we only deal with artwork sent into us by members, so it's not just everyone that gets this service. If you'd like to find out more about becoming a member, then go to our website, colinbradleyart.com, and you can submit your artwork for the show. So then, I am just going to paste this link into Facebook so some people can start joining us, and I'm going to do that now. How you doing, Dad?
I'm good, Steve. Yeah, had a good day today.
Lovely. Enjoying the spring weather?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's been a great day today. The weather has been terrific. Everybody in shirt sleeves and bikinis and oh, great. I also add we live by the sea.
Yeah, it's not just
No.
in high-rise buildings and things like
No,
that.
no.
Yeah,
No,
everyone's getting that beach weather.
oh, definitely. Oh, a load of people on the beach today. It was absolutely gorgeous, beautiful. Long
Excellent.
may it continue. I think we've got a few days of it, though. According to the weather forecast, it's going to last the rest of this week and into the weekend, which is great.
Fantastic. So a couple of updates from our end, what we've been doing. The Black Cat was a new picture we've just unveiled to members, and just yesterday actually put that up there. Shall I put that on screen for everyone to see? I think it might be nice. The Black Cat, here we go. Pop it up on the screen. Lovely, look at that.
Yes,
Stunning picture, Dad.
it's a good one, isn't it? Yes, I particularly like the background on that, Steve. People, when they see that, they'll realise that I really hadn't got a clue what I was going to do on the back. But when you put paws in, you have to put them on something. So I thought, well, what shall I do? And I started really with the pathway, and then worked my way up. But
Really?
I was, yeah, and I thought, well, and I wanted sort of a pretty gardeny background, and I think it worked very well. Composition was good.
Yeah. It's something different. This is again one of the subjects. Normally, you just sort of do sort of a portrait, but this is like the fox was a little bit more included.
Yes, I like that. I like to vary it a bit. I mean, I know the just the portraits, head and shoulders, are very popular, and they've done very well. But just with the kingfisher, it was a couple of weeks ago, that lent itself to it, and we've got a few more coming up, haven't we? That I actually did a complete picture. It's nice to bring the changes, and I'm sure our members appreciate that.
Well, it gives the atmosphere to the cat, doesn't it? The background as well, and having the full, well, not the full cat, but the full
No,
length.
that's right. No, and black is a devil of a job to get right. And I thought, well, this is an excellent opportunity for people to see how we do it. With the greys and the blues and all the other colours that are put in.
Definitely, great. Let's get rid of that cat. Sorry, cat. And move down to the first picture for today. I haven't put the name in on this one, so I do apologise. I don't know who this is from, but you'll know because the person getting their feedback's hopefully watching this. Apologies for that. This is the mother and baby goat, the gorgeous picture, your one here on the left, and the other picture on the right. I'll try and find that one whilst you're talking about it.
Okay. It's good, isn't it? Yes. There's not a lot I can say about that. It's really good. I would say that the background is the only thing that I would be a little bit wary of. If you look at the green that has been put around the animal, it tends to halo it. That really would have been better if you'd have spread that green evenly over the whole thing, rather than, put the light and dark in. Light and dark is great, as you see on mine. I've got quite a lot of that. But when you put the halo around it, it can be off-putting. That's the reverse of what we normally get. We've got a light halo. Well, that's the dark halo. Easy to get rid of, though. Very easy. Just use some of that green and work it into it so it's a plain background.
Right. Okay.
Lose the halo. Apart from that, there's not a lot. I think it's really, really good. Very good interpretation. The area underneath Mum's head is a bit of a nightmare scenario. I would have expected people to have a real problem with that, a tussle with that. It's very hard to be able to get that look. Even I had a problem, folks. I didn't have it easy there, as you know, if you've seen the picture and seen me struggling with it. It's not easy, but it'll come. Stick with it. It will come. There's not a lot you can do on your picture to eradicate that. But it's all I would do is do that section again on spare paper, and just that section, and try to see if you can find the answer to it. And the other thing is to rewatch the video a few times. Sometimes when you're in the amateur area, you have a go at something and then you can't quite work out what's wrong. This is obvious. So I wouldn't panic too much on that. It's really good. Well done.
Very nice work. I have just tried to find who sent that in, so I can't. So I'm really sorry I can't put the name to the picture. But yeah, really stunning work again from our members doing some great stuff. The next one, I've got the name on this one. This is John. Now, John sent in 3 pictures, which is why it's a little bit of a mishmash. And I haven't got your references alongside, but I can do that. But I don't think we're quite familiar with these 3 subjects, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
Being the 3 courses that we have available on YouTube. So let's just start with the sunset, shall we?
Sunset's brilliant. Not much to say about that. Very good.
You really notice the solid of the solid color of the it's not black, but the dark colors, how important they are when they're solid, because that really creates such a contrast, doesn't it?
That's the impact that you've got. Yeah, it's good.
And you only achieve that by layering the colors before it, right?
Well, you've got to put the red on first, and then the darker colors go on top of it. So instead of you can imagine what that would look like if you dispensed with those undertones and you just put the black on. It would look ghastly. So he's done absolutely brilliantly there. You can see it if you look at. You can see, especially in the foreground area where the rocks are, you can see the blue and the red influence there, which is great. That's exactly what you should have. It gives you a nice feeling in the picture and complements all the things you've done on that. The only thing I would say that I would have probably picked up on, but I've got to say that angle there has been, it goes away from you. The perspective, it goes away from you. So it may not be quite as severe. The lighthouse doesn't quite reflect, at the moment, as I see it now, doesn't quite reflect. It's to one, the reflection is to one side, slightly.
Right.
But I'm being picky because that is still a very good picture.
Yeah.
And the cat, well, we've seen so many of them, and that's a really, really good example of one. Everybody, when you look at that nose there, everybody seems to put the nose front on, where in fact the cat is slightly looking to one side. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So really it does need just a little bit more, but again, I'm being picky. It's very good. And it's only me would pick that up. No one else would pick it up. It's
only as well because we've seen so many of them that it's so ingrained, that picture in our heads.
Yeah, no, it's very good though. Brilliant.
I like the subtlety of the signature on that as well. I think that's quite nice.
Yes. Well,
Right.
yes, put in well, yes, yes, and
Mm.
also the in this particular case, John's done a good job of the relationship between the dark fur and the light fur on the top of the head. That works very well. Sometimes it can be a little harsh. You get that
Mm.
jarring, and that one doesn't. But that's probably because the sunset is in the same idea. He's melted the sunset, the dark colours and the lighter
Mm.
colours together. Quite important.
Mm.
Not often seen in the picture. And actually, if we move down to the other one, you've got the same thing happening again. You have a blend of colour in that that works really well. No
Mm.
hard colours, and that's really well done. This is because the base colours are put on
Is it
again.
is it also the pressure that's been applied to it? Because it seems these pictures, I don't know if I'm being right here, but it just feels like time and care has been taken over the pressure and the application of the pastel on
Mm,
these pictures.
that's right. Yeah,
Does that make
pressure.
sense?
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. If to get a picture working really, really well, you have to have the right pressure on the base colours. In other words, you don't want to overdo it, otherwise you start to crush the paper. You've then got the relationship between the base colours and the first tones that go on. That's got to be right too. And then finally, the punches which go in afterwards. All of those have got to work right, and it's quite hard to get everything right.
Mm.
But in this case, it's worked very well, and when you get everything right, you get the results like that.
Mm. Excellent work, John. Fantastic.
I love the waves in that one.
Yeah, you'd see
See
it
those little
clear,
waves?
very clear. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
clear. Mm. Moving on to Gabriel's done the Indian Chief that you did, a really tricky project that you released. We weren't quite sure uh, whether about doing it. I remember you saying this one, but you did, and Gabriel's done a really good job of it.
So again, very good. I mean, you wouldn't think that possible, would you? You're an amateur artist being able to produce something like that. So you must be thrilled to bits.
Mm.
The only thing I would say with that, if I may, just before you move on, faces are a nightmare anyway. And what we have with that face is just a little older than mine is. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
see what I mean? You can put a few years on him. I'm glad you didn't do a portrait of me. You know what I mean? You tend to make it a little hard. Whereas if you look at mine, you'll see most of the lines that I've got on there are kind of rounded
Right,
lines.
I see.
Whereas what happens sometimes is when you put the lines in, they can be a little harsh, a little hard. That's the only thing, but that will come in time. It will come in time as again. I would suggest that Gabriel has another go at just a section of that face, just perhaps the nose, for instance, and see whether you can get that roundness to the face.
Mm. So it's not it's so with the sort of the wrinkles and things like that. How on the harshness? How do you smooth that out? So it's sort of how do you reduce the years in? You know what I mean? If you've put them on, how do you take them off?
Well, it's just a matter of. I think the best thing I can suggest is you. Now I've pointed it out to you. Gabriel goes back to the drawing board and looks at my picture, looks at the way I did it, because there's quite a lot of subtleties that go to that. The color shaper can help a great deal in rounding those areas off. Instead of it being a hard line, it
Mm,
becomes softer.
I see.
Difficult to explain. Is much better to show, and I do that quite a lot on that pictures. A lot of time was spent and video time used up on that face because I knew it was going to be a bit of a nightmare.
Mm,
But very good. You see, if you take everything else into account, all the other features, they work out very well. It's only the
fantastic. Yeah.
face that creates the problem. That
Mm,
slight problem. Can I just point just one small thing out, which summarizes everything I've said about the face? If you look at the chin, the line of the chin from the where it meets the ribbons that come down,
yeah.
where the chin meets that, you see that hard line there. Can you see? That's it. See that hard line?
Yeah.
Now look at mine and compare it.
I see. That's a good comparison there. Yeah.
It's a very good way of seeing how that line is hard, where a blender and a little bit of color could have made it just a bit smoother. So, but it's a very good example, and I'm glad people, send these in to us, because it gives me an opportunity of showing you and everybody just how much subtlety there is in something like this.
For sure. Well, fantastic job, Gabriel, and I hope that helps yourself and anyone else watching.
I'm sure it
might
will.
be interested in trying that picture. So this is a request from Evan. He's asked about drawing this lovely lady's hair. He's looking for the colours. He's sort of trying to pick the colours out. So this isn't feedback as such as some colour advice, really. And I thought I'd include it because it could be interesting. It's a very unique colour hair to pick.
Yes.
So
and
how would you do this?
Well, the first colour that would be put on there would be grey.
Right.
Because what you have there is very rich tones. The 283 would be a very good colour to use there. But if you were to put 283 directly on that, should be a really strong redhead. So what you've got to do is you've got to weaken it down a little bit, and you do that by putting grey on. I would put the light grey. What I would use there is probably, well, it can be either 230 or 270. Either one will give the softness. What that does then, it gives you something to work the colours into. I then use perhaps 187 or 186. You can try it, and you probably may, almost certainly would need to put a grey in as well. That would either be the mid-tone grey. And you have to play with these colours, because what you've got to try to do is get it to the point where you can put those stronger tones on. If you put them on straight away, it's going to ruin it completely. Now, if you look at the face, you have the same kind of tones there. So you could put grey again in the face, and then you can add colours onto that. So you've got two base colours there that's going to work the same. Grey in the hair, grey in the face. And some of the colours too that you're using in the hair can also be used in the face.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can use some of those colours, but you have to then build them up with the whites and the pinks, maybe a little ivory, and then on top of the greys. Then when you put those colours on, all it will end up being is a tint as opposed to a colour.
I see.
It's a question of degrees, you see. If you look at that again now, everybody look at that again, and everything I've said to you, if you look at the left-hand side of the face more than the right-hand side, and look at the hair, can you see the colours working together? You can see those colours in the face. All you need is the base colours that you put in there have got to be, represented quite strong. That's the lighter colours have got to be stronger, so that when those strong tints go on, the 283, the 187, or the 186, it's weakened quite a lot. So, but anyway, that's the face. But the hair, no, you can work on the hair. It might be possible once you get to those colours I've suggested, you might well be able to put some of the reds in. We've got some good reds in there, but you've got to be careful, because you're going to end up by making it a little too rich.
Yeah,
got to be played with that. You've got to work it. You can easily do just a section of that on spare paper and play with it until you get it. But the greys are the important colour there. You've got to put the greys on first.
Yeah, that's an important thing to note, really. That's a good piece of advice. Okay, well, I hope that helps, Evan, with that picture, and best of luck with it, and do let us know how you get on.
Well, I hope we're going to see it on the feedback show.
Yes, that's true. This one comes from Natalie. She's done a lovely version of your Jack Russell picture that is also on YouTube on this channel. And the key question she had in her email was, should she make the part above the right eye darker? So it's the left eye, the doggy, this one here.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
The answer is definitely yes. However, there is another little problem there.
Okay.
We've got a little boss-eyed Jack Russell there.
Oh, what, in the sort of the direction he's looking?
Yes, if everybody puts one finger covering one eye, doesn't matter which one, and then switches it to the other eye, you'll see that one eye is looking one way and one eye is looking the other.
I wonder if I can just do that for you.
I don't know whether you can do that, Steve. Yeah, all right. Now, okay, look at that. Stay there, Steve. Everybody look at that. Now, imagine where that dog's looking. And now switch across, Steve, to the other eye quickly.
Yeah. See, yeah.
Now, how to get over it? Easy, easy. Let me show you how. Take it away now. If you look at the dot in the middle of the eye, that dot is central. If you look at mine, you'll see that I've got some of the dark color on to the side of it. Do you see what I mean? Just
on
under
right.
that left-hand spot, the left-hand highlight. So the answer to the question is yes, you do. You make it darker, certainly at the top, because at the top it's a little bit starey.
Okay.
And then you work the pupil out to match the other eye. If you look at the other eye, you'll see that there's, again, the pupil has been centered, as opposed to, if you look at mine, it kind of moves to one side slightly. I fill up to one side. You've got to play with eyes. And the best way of doing it is the way we've just seen, where you move from one to another and just keep playing with them until they work.
Yes.
And it will work. You just need to redo that eye slightly and make it a little darker. Yes, is the answer to that.
Okay. There's some good tips, especially if you've done a picture of how to, just slightly tweak it and change it. And of course, with the pastel pencils, you can do this. It's, you can go back, you get that picture out and just add a bit more on top, take a bit out if you need to.
Good
Continue working.
Very good result, though. Well done.
So this next one comes from Adam.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is the reference picture Adam used on the left and Adam's version on the right.
I like it. I think it's great. Yeah, well done. The only thing I would say about that is, and this is a real tough one as well.
Isn't it?
Yes. The contrast of the nose could be heightened. Now, if you look at the Adams, you'll see that the contrast is almost flat. Just a little bit of light on the bottom, sort of just underneath the nostrils, a little bit of light there. But if you look at the other one on the other side, you've got much more contrast between the lights and the dark. That needs to be put in. That dark area to the right of the nostril on the reference picture needs to be put in. And then conversely, you need to be lightened around it slightly, not much. You don't need to lighten the picture much. You need to darken it a little more. But that's a really good picture, that.
Isn't
the
it?
other thing, may I also suggest there, is if you look at the reference picture, obviously you've got greenery. He's in some
field
kind
or
of
something.
well, something like that, yeah. And then you've got that sort of foggy light color that runs across the picture, which I love. I think that's great. And then you've got the same, got trees or something in the background. Now, what you could do with Adam's picture is fog that in. In other words, lose all the lines. The line that runs along, especially that line, because if you follow the top of the light line coming from the right to the left, it goes over, and it almost goes over the top of the mane and comes out in the same direction on the left ear. When it comes away from the left ear, it kind of humps over the top of that. That kind of doesn't work anyway. So that needs to be adjusted. That needs to be darkened. Put a bit of dark on it, actually, and drop it down a little bit lower. It tends to, you take your eye, if you look at it, you go woo over the top and then down the other side. But if you blend that in, use the color shaper and blend it all in, it'll look 10 times better than it does there.
Good little tips there, yeah. Good to look at the background and sort of decide what you would do with it and things like that. Fog it, keep it fogged, a bit like the depth of field that we've spoken about, I think, before with pictures.
Well, what you have in a situation like this, it takes my eye. It took my eye when I looked at the picture. I thought, well, that's a lovely zebra. And then I immediately saw the background. Now, that's something you don't want to do, really. The background needs to be there, but just as a support act.
Yes.
But we learn, don't we? I mean, good for him to put it in. He could have just done it plain. So I admire him for having a crack at it. And all you have to do, a color shaper there with a little bit of gray, and you could weaken all of those lines and they would look great. Make it look like the one on the left.
Great. Well, fantastic. Well done, Adam. Let's move on to, well, originally this picture came from John, and originally he was going to ask for some colours. And then he had a crack at it, which is what I've put here on the right-hand side. And I've just included some notes from John's email. There's quite a lot there. So it's more for your reference, I think, Dan, really. Anyone that wants to read it can.
Interesting.
Yeah. So these are the colours that John used. Looking at the picture, this is his representation, which is really lovely.
I think he's done very well. Colours, nothing wrong with the colours. They're very good.
So he's saying he's not sure. He started white. He wasn't sure if that was a bit bright or whether he should have started off with a grey 230 and a 173 and then brought in the lighter areas on top of those. Do you think white was a good shout?
No.
Not on all of it, do you think?
Not on all of it. I would have put white just... Really, all I would have done is put white there. Yep.
And maybe along there?
Maybe there, yeah. Maybe there. Just a little bit of white there. And then I would have used grey.
Grey for the rest, yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is a lighter touch of grey. You don't want too much. We were talking about base colours earlier, weren't we? And how much to put in. Well, you here you do need a light base colour. You need the base colour.
Yeah.
What you want to do is the second colour that goes in. I've got 187 there.
Yeah, he actually did use 230. He did use grey for the base for this. I think he was talking about the eyes. He used the white. Example above the eyes, he used the white. Around here. Would you still have done that? Would you have used grey?
Where you're putting the arrow there, above the eye itself. Yeah, I would have used grey, to start with. And then I would have put 187. But what I'm trying to say is the relationship between those two have got to be better than we've got there. Too much grey means when you put the 187 on, it becomes too weak.
Right.
It weakens a stronger colour. But had you got a lighter base there and then put the 187, it would have been a much richer colour. It would have been still a subtle colour, but it would have been richer. But well done there. I mean, I think it's really good. And
the rules that he's applied there has been really good. I mean, there is a bit of theory, isn't there, that goes along with what we're talking about. This is the point of doing this, is to discuss a bit of the theory behind it. And John's taken that theory and he's applied it, and he's done really well to go for this.
What I wouldn't have done here, if we take the nose into account, we've got light circles around the nose, and if you look at the reference picture, they're not there. Now, the reason they've been put in is just define those areas. John thought, I've got to define them. I've got to show where the nostrils are. But actually, it doesn't work very well. The only light I would have put in there was that light just at the bottom. Just at the bottom, you can see it. Yeah, it's just there. That's the only light. And of course, on the just top of the nose. The difference is you can use the lights, the greys, and presumably you'd be using, you haven't got black down there, but you almost certainly would have used black there. And those relationships needs to be done rather than using the white as a defined line.
He's got black. Yeah, he has used black in the darkest areas. He also mentions here on the right ear, along here, he applied 230, 187, then 181.
I wouldn't have used 230 at all.
He said, "Should I have started off with 273?" Yes,
absolutely right. So you've got it. You know the answer. You know the answer.
There's the answers. Yeah, but it's good for people looking at it to see, as well from John's picture.
And again, 273. Hang on, I think 173. That's not right. No, I think he means 273 because that's green. 173.
Yes, he must mean 273. Yeah,
273 there.
Yeah.
So the 273 I would have started with, and I wouldn't have made that too strong either. It would have to be quite a light application of 273. Otherwise, it would be too, because you want the next color, which is 187, to be that bit richer. In fact, I would say there you need the 273 and the 187 as your base colors there, rather than rich colors, because if they're put in too strong, the darker colors that you're going to put on top wouldn't work very well. And I would suggest that would be 283 and 177 possibly. They would have worked well on top of those screw colors. It's the relationship again between the base colors, the medium colors, and the and the dark colors. They've got to be right. If they're not right, it doesn't work very well. But compliments to him is great. The only thing I would also not have done there, you see the bottom where you have a kind of, it's like being cut off at the bottom. You have along there. I would have melted that into the background.
Right.
It's just a little bit harsh.
I'm not sure if John's going to do the whole picture or if he's just doing the head. Perhaps he's just doing the head. I'm not quite sure.
Good luck on all that ribbon then.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh I bet you wouldn't fancy doing that.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't even attempt it. No.
Yeah, no, but good point. If that's the picture to merge it, yeah,
I'd leave it there. I don't think you need the rest of the picture. You can get away. That's a good study. And if you melt that into the background and the way we showed you in the past, that would be fine. That would work.
Excellent.
But actually, you go back up a minute because that's interesting. I think John has got it in his mind maybe too, because there's a few little wiggles on the left ear. Can you see below? So I don't know whether that's the ribbons he was thinking about putting in. So he may have it. He may have it in his mind to do that.
Let us know, John. Let us know. Okay, come on. We've got a few more to get through. So this comes from Ben. This is it's a lovely bird. A fairy wren, I think, is the name of the bird, and I've added a few notes here. He had a bit of trouble, I think, with doing this bird. He said he traced it using trace down to transfer it onto the paper.
Yep.
Unfortunately, he positioned it poorly, so he tried to erase it, and then he decided to continue anyway with the bird slightly out of position. So he had some numerous problems with the paper being crushed. I don't think he's making excuses here. I think he's just learned a lot from doing this picture. But anyway, nevertheless, he'd like some feedback.
He's done very well. A couple of points, though. The tail, he's had a little trim there.
I see, yeah. Yeah.
We've got a little right angle tail there, which doesn't work very well. He needs to put a little bit more tail on there. Just
a bit more shape.
Yes, it's a little...
And too perfect.
Yes, and the poor chap's legs have got a little bit, or the left leg particularly there, has gone a little bit askew. So I think that he's already rubbed it out. So, but I really would rub that out again. That left leg.
Yeah.
Because it's bent there in a rather unfortunate angle.
Yeah.
If you look at the reference picture, right one's fine, but I would take it off. But actually, I've got to say that that's a brilliant execution, though. It really looks good. Nothing wrong with the branch. That's fine. Leave it as it is. The other area that I would do something about is between the legs. You know where the body comes below the wing. There, you've got light against light. You've got a light background, which you can keep the light background, but make that just a little bit. I would use a bit of grey and maybe a little tint of blue in there to make it darker. It's on the original. You'll see it's darker.
Yes, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Darken it a bit with the grey or something.
Yeah. So sort the leg out and do that and extend the feathers. And I compliment you. That's a really good picture.
Fantastic. Well done, Ben. Well done. Okay, so I think
I recognise that one.
Might be the last one. This is from Keith. Yes, done the Ainsford project here. I'm just going to make these pictures a little bit bigger with your one on the left and Keith's on the right. So let's have a look at these.
I think that is a really good interpretation of my picture. It's a real tough one, that.
There's a lot to it. A lot of detail.
Yes, absolutely. What I like, can I tell you what I like? I like the bridge, and I love the way the brickwork and that is done. It really, really well there. I really love that.
You can tell that the patience he's had over that brickwork.
Yeah. The trees are always going to be a nightmare, and in this situation, I can see how But I've got to say, they're not bad. Those trees are not bad. If you look at the tree on the extreme right, just above not the buildings, the bridge itself,
Yes. Yeah.
where I've put the tree in. Now, the problem here is if you put trunks and branches in, they can't take over, which is what's happened there.
I see.
It's better for them to be slightly softer or erase slightly rather than be as hard as that. If you look at mine, there's a relationship between the branches and the trunks of the trees, and the depth of color I've got in there work well. But it doesn't work if you come in with a hard color against a slightly weaker one. The rest of the trees work all right. They're okay, but that one is just a little hard.
It's too prominent. The branches are too prominent
compared with the
leaves.
Compared with the foliage, yes.
Yeah.
You've got to either deepen the foliage or lighten the branches a little. They're a little bit too heavy. Otherwise, very good. I mean, you've got a little building. I gave people an option whether to put that in or not, but well done, sir.
Yeah.
And little characters, another tough one.
Yeah, a lot of intricate detail there.
I should think Keith enjoyed that one. It looks as though he did.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you like that one, Keith, we've got quite a lot more of that kind of thing coming up.
Oh yes, definitely. And actually, we just a couple of days ago put a YouTube clip out just on how to draw these two figures. So you can check that out. It's our latest YouTube video.
Yes, I like that. When I saw it back, I said to Steve, include those little figures, because sometimes it's so hard to get figures right. And the way we called it impressionist, didn't we? Because it isn't impression. Well, somebody actually came back to me and said they look real. They don't look like impression. And that was a compliment to me, because they still are impressionists, but the key to it is to make them look real.
Yes. Amazing.
It was a backhanded compliment, that was.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I understand where you're coming from. If you can put a figure in and you can make it look right, then you cracked it.
Definitely. And I think that's the final one for this feedback show. So lots of submissions, which is wonderful, really. I mean, that was the aim of this show, for it to sort of take off and get more people interested. And it's definitely doing that.
And have the courage, folks, to send them in to me, because although, we do pull them to bits a little bit, everything is constructive, and everything you will learn so much from it. Not just you, but everybody else. And I'm sure the people, Keith in this case, would have learnt from the other examples we've given today.
Absolutely.
So it works well. Keep them coming.
Definitely. So a lot of these pictures, other than the ones that have been people's own projects, can all be watched and learned to draw yourself on our website, colinbradleyart.com. So you can head over to our website and grab some free courses. The Jack Russell picture that we talked about earlier is actually on our YouTube channel, and 5,000 hits and counting. So lots of people trying that picture. So if you fancy giving it a go, then go over to colinbradleyart.com. We also sell all of the tools that you need to do these pictures. The paper that a lot of our members here have been using, the on-grey pastel paper, can be found on our art store, and that's colinbradleyartstore.co.uk. All the links are on our website anyway, so you won't have any trouble finding it. And so we'll be back in a couple of weeks for another feedback show. So in the meantime, sign up to our membership and keep your pictures coming in, and we'll get some more on the chocks for you for 2 weeks' time. Excellent.
Okay.
So that's it for this week. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I'm Stephen Bradley.
And I'm Colin Bradley.
Bye for now.